How are you? Happy Friday.
How are you? Happy Friday.
I am really
Giselle is
good.
here? Okay, this is go time. We gotta have Giselle on
Yes.
the show, by the way.
Yes, it is great to see Giselle. It was great to see everyone, not just Giselle,
Everyone.
but
Yeah.
yes, I'd love to see the names. Please say hi if you're here. Let us know where you're joining from, and let us know what the temperature is.
Ugh, you're just bragging now. You're just rubbing it in. Okay, in Minneapolis.
David is in Houston, and it is 84, maybe.
Hmm.
Uh, Jesse's in
84.
Atlanta and it's 44 and rainy. 42. 55. Wow, it's not as warm in Houston as I thought.
Okay, do I really
Canton,
have to rate
Ohio,
my feet so far?
28. 27. 49. 50.
Okay.
Oh man.
John's tied for Minneapolis. I feel a little better. Lots of snow here.
25 in Rogers, Minnesota.
I know Rogers. Shannon, aren't you like the mayor of Rogers now? I think I owe you belated congratulations or something. I feel like I know three mayors these days. Yep. See? Oh my gosh. I love it.
Wow.
Did,
That's
did
crazy.
you
You
know
know
that?
three. No, it's crazy that you know three mayors.
I know three. I know
Like
three
how many
mayors.
mayors?
Two of them,
Like
two
you
of them are
personally know
industry
three.
people. I know, two of them are industry people like Shannon, and one is somebody I went to college with, and he's now the mayor of Hopkins, Minnesota, Pat. And I'm good friends with his wife, Catherine, who's been on our show. Okay, this is like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon stuff right here. I bet you know more than
Wow.
three
Well, I
mayors.
know the names of three mayors. I don't know like the actual people.
I am
Like
on
if I
hugging terms with three mayors.
oh my gosh, that's the new like okay, how many hugging terms with three mayors?
Like you know
So
them, that you would like embrace them by name. The core.
I I
Oh,
happen to be in a place where it's
yeah, rub it in
uh
now. Oh, I'm happy
80.
for you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Yes, I made a game time decision. Truly a game time decision yesterday while I was flying to Tampa, Florida. Um, and I was supposed to fly back last night to Minneapolis. I looked at the weather and I said no. Literally, I literally said no because I have to be back in New York on Sunday. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stay in Tampa for the weekend
Oh,
and have my wife come down instead of me go there.
that was a
So
very
yes,
smart. Yep, exactly, Giselle. Smart decision, except that you left Alex to his own devices this weekend. So we will see how that goes. Maybe you'll report back next week.
so Jess, why did I play Nickelback?
Uh, I'm terrible. This is the guessing game I am the worst at.
How many letters are in Nickelback?
10. See, now you're telling everybody my stupid human trick where I can tell you the letters in any word as long as I know how to spell the word. 10, easy peasy.
I played Nickelback for no reason. So we're not going to even keep playing the game. Like
Okay.
just for no reason. It just sounded like what I wanted to play today.
I love it.
So happy Friday, everyone. December 5th, meetup number 286. It's too bad. Do you think we can have we can have a meetup 6-7? Do you
For
know
the
that
kids.
6-7 game? Do you know that 6-7, Jess?
Unfortunately, I have three little people in my house who will
Did
not
I do that
let
6-7
me
thing?
forget. Yeah, I feel like it's like it's almost run its course, not quite. It's still
Well,
like a
everyone just
giggle.
take a second. Everyone just take a second and please just do it. Just
Marissa
do
knows.
6-7. I don't
Yeah.
want anyone to actually I don't actually want anyone to show us that they're doing it, but just do it. Just do 6-7.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesse's having a fire drill. Jesse will be back.
Jesse's leaving. So yeah, episode meetup number 286. Great to have everyone. Marissa Franco always comes out of the woodwork. So it's good to see her. I
Yeah.
have to dust her off
I
every
know.
now and then
Busy people. I
for a
get
little
it. Can't make every
yeah,
single one of these.
little karaoke in the lipstick lounge. Oh, I
Hmm.
guess I'm sharing stuff I probably shouldn't share. But anyway, great to see everyone. How's everyone doing? Green, yellow, red. Green, great. Yellow, so-so. Red, not so good. Lots of stuff going on in the world.
Oof.
Lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. Overwhelming stuff.
Yeah.
I shared with the group. Yes, I was on a large town hall yesterday that I was leading, and I shared with the group that I unfortunately had a. I'm sorry, David, that your role
Oh,
was eliminated. I'm positive there's better things on the other side. Those things happen for a reason. I was sharing yesterday that my in Minneapolis, where Jess and I live, my son actually had two of his classmates taken away who were Somali. Um, and was quite a situation. I'll just say that. And it's just sad to see a lot of the things that are going on in the world. So luckily not close. Well, doesn't matter whether they're close friends or not, but it's just scary to see some of the stuff going on, and I think all of it takes a toll on people. And I think that a bunch of us are tired as we approach the end of the year. I can't tell you. I think 2026 is going to be a lot different, but there's just a lot of noise in the system that we all have
yeah.
to deal with on an everyday basis.
That is uh, an understatement, but an appropriate summary of how that's playing out. It's almost like you can, if you even if you made up, like, how could this get any worse? Like, we can't even make it up anymore. uh,
Yeah,
it is a little terrifying, Dorothy. Um,
yeah. It definitely. I mean, I was talking with some folks in Tampa last night about, and they had the same situation happen in their city, and yeah, it's a crazy time. It's a crazy time to be in the United States. Um,
And for those of you who don't know, in Minnesota, we have a particularly large, I think the largest concentration of Somali immigrants in the United States. And so Minnesota, Minneapolis in particular, is being targeted. Our school district also sent out a notice about creating safety for Somali students in our schools. I don't know that you can create a whole lot of safety. My kids were very upset last night about the same thing. Um, it's crazy to ask kids
it
to.
really doesn't even feel like you're living in the moment. It
No.
feels like we're living in a completely different a different time.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing I wanted to just share as part of me being green, I'm not green because of that situation, but I did have an opportunity uh, to present to a really large group of higher education professionals this week at an event in New York City. And I do have to say that I left more scared than I was before I started. And why I'm green in some of these situations is not
Bring me
because
back
of
to green on that.
yeah, not what I'm hearing, but what I hope the impact I'm making is. We were talking with a large group of higher education professionals about AI and the use of AI. I think I shared with the group before well, I didn't share this, but my students' finals were due on Wednesday. A number of them asked if they could use AI, and I said, if you don't use AI, you're probably going to fail because there's no way you're going to get done what I've asked you to do in
Mm,
time, which was code a website, which none of them
mm,
know how to do.
yeah.
Um, and they said that, hey, in all of other classes, we were told it's cheating if we use AI, so we can't. So it's nice to see that you say we can. And I was
Okay.
like, yeah, it's great. But what was interesting in the session I did in New York is that the administrators, these were all administrators of the schools, said that they have at least 10 professors that are over 80 years old who are tenured who don't use email each, or four schools, Hofstra, Georgetown, and two others. And they're like, we're not going to get them to use AI. We can't even get them to use email.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, uh, help, 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 help. So anyway, just a lot. Yes. How do they communicate, Dorothy? I know how they communicate, Dorothy, because I get to go to the faculty cafeteria with them. But yeah, it's crazy to see this gap. I think we need to do a little episode or discussion of this digital chasm, which is just growing bigger by the day. It's the haves and have-nots, but it's not a financial. discussion. It's really a discussion of how we work, how we live, and things like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did a lot of great things this week. Not great, like I wasn't great, but I did a lot of things that made me green because I felt like I was moving a needle one person at a time.
Mm, that's good. That's very
So how are
good.
you?
Um, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. It was a little bit of a messy week for me in an okay way. It was just a little bit discombobulated all over the place. Some weeks are like that. So I'm not really sure how to summarize that in a tidy sort of way. I have no story or one big thing that kind of puts a cap on the week. We're just going to skate on through this week. And I do mean that in a good way. Sometimes you just keep skating forward, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. And it feels appropriate because we have a lot of snow and ice in Minnesota. And I put on my parka and run out to the gym, and nobody can see my face because my hood is so big. So it's that time of year. But it's good. It's all good.
So is
One
that a
day,
green? Is that a yellow? Is that a what color is that? Or is there no color?
there's no color.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
You don't need a color.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one big thing. Jess, like what's one big thing for you this week? Like
Mm.
there is something interesting that I'm picking up from your vibe today, which is a lot of gray and silver.
Gray and silver. Oh, interesting. I
Yeah, that's
don't
very rare for you. You're usually more of a
color.
gold, brown, warm tones.
Oh,
T-
interesting.
Today there's a lot of gray and silver and black tones.
Interesting.
Does that
Um,
mean anything?
no, I don't think. If it does, I'm not trying some subliminal messaging here. It could subconsciously, perhaps, we're getting a laugh. I don't know if it means anything except that this is exactly the color of the sky outside now that I'm looking at the window. Uh, yeah,
And I hope this isn't too personal of a question,
yeah.
but I'm sure there's someone else wondering this question. I'm going to see if
What?
anyone can put it in the chat before I ask the question. We're
Oh
wasting a
God.
lot of time here. This is bad. But
I
what
know.
is that? There's some wording on your sweatshirt.
Oh, it says,
Oh, you
oh,
see, Tammy got it. Tammy got it. Like
what
Tammy and
does
I
the
are on the
shirt
same
say?
page.
It says, stay cool.
Oh, wow. Very,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't
Well,
even know you
just
could see this. Oh, interesting.
yeah. Well, yeah. I was like, I
Okay.
was trying to read. I was trying to figure out what it was. Just
Stay
six, seven,
cool in cool
6, 7.
town.
Just do that. Just do that. Just do the 6, 7 thing, and everything will be fine.
Okay, here's my one big thing. I'm going to keep it nice and easy. And last night, I have literally been meaning to. Bailey is in her middle school musical. They do a huge winter musical production every year. This is her third year. It's Beauty and the Beast this year. And they always ask for parent volunteers. It's a huge production. So, herding cats, lots of kids, takes a lot of hands. So, they're always asking parent volunteers to just come in and help. And I have been meaning to volunteer for the last few weeks and just had a hard time getting there. Last night, I finally swooped in to volunteer at the tail end of rehearsal. The school was quiet. It's 5 o'clock. They're the only kids in the school. They're singing in the choir room. They're, it doesn't matter how long you've been a parent or how long you've been around little people. Like, there is nothing like the sound of children's voices singing. And I walked into the school and I could hear it as soon as the door closed. They were singing the finale of the Beauty and the Beast musical number, Tale as Old as Time, and they're singing so, like, it was such a pure, I literally stopped in my tracks. There's nothing like children's voices singing. And I kind of needed that last night. It was so innocent. Look at the day that you described, the day that some kids in Minnesota had this week. I kind of needed to know that kids were having a different kind of day this week. And that was so beautiful. And of course, then I walked in and it's Bailey's mom, and she's completely mortified that I'm there and we did the whole thing. But that was a pretty beautiful moment for a second.
That's awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. Mine's not like as cool. Like my one big thing wasn't what you were wearing, but I actually had an interview with someone this week that like a job interview. Um, and I was like, wow, this person just knocked my socks off. Like
Were
I
you
literally,
applying for the job? I'm kidding. Or you were interviewing. I want
no, I
to
was
know what you would
interviewing,
sound like in an interview.
I was interviewing someone and I was like, oh my God, like this person's like a 25, 26-year old and they blew me away. And
Oh.
every time that happens to me, I just get hope.
Mm,
um, I just get hope for the future. So like literally, not and it wasn't just knowledge, it wasn't just smarts, it wasn't just skill that they had, but the actual person listened to me, like didn't interrupt, and then replayed back what I said. Like there was
oh,
just it was one of those like it felt AI, if it
mm,
could feel like AI, but it wasn't. So uh, that that was one of the best parts of my week this week.
oh, I love that.
Now, on to our guest. Speaking of
Yes.
interviews, so we have a fascinating guest today that I mean, that I'm so excited. I love, 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 love when we get people on who have done what I'll call transformational things.
Yeah.
And as we were putting together notes for this episode, one of the things that stuck up with me, stuck out to me, was 1 million chatbot
Mm,
interactions.
hmm
1 million. You got that reference, Jess?
I did actually.
And what is it?
What's the movie? Well, now I'm gonna
That's
blank.
yeah. See, 1 million.
1 million.
Austin Powers.
Austin
See,
Powers,
look at your
yes, thank you.
helpers. Phone a
You
friend.
saved me.
1 million
Me.
chatbot. 1 million chatbot interactions. So Dominic, hello.
Good evening. Well, it's at least evening
Yes.
where I am. Hi,
Thank
everybody.
God we
Hi,
have
Jess.
finally have
Hi,
someone
Jason.
that's got a decent accent on this some show.
A decent accent. I like that. I like that. By the way, I can tell you a fun story before we actually get started. When I
Yes.
was when I was at the German army, I was after, let's say, the regular service that you had to do. I was stationed at the radio and newspaper kind of unit, right? Back
Mhm.
then, like 25 years ago. And I did indeed the hourly news, right? So broadcasted live.
Yeah.
And my boss back then, he said to me, I really like that you're doing that because you have the German accent, like this Bavarian accent in German. So he
Yeah.
said exactly the same to me. And now I'm coming to you guys talking English and I hear exactly the same thing. So obviously there's something with my voice. Yeah. I try to get better. So be with me, please.
It's
Get
perfect.
better. No, it's perfect. And
Perfect.
Dominic, by the way, I've dreamt, like the only reason we do this whole like now of work digital meetup thing is because I've dreamt of being a radio host, talk show host
Really?
my whole life.
But you are.
Like I had
You
a guy,
are.
I had a show once with a gentleman named Bill Cudick where we had his own radio show, and he and I hosted a radio show
Firing line,
before.
right?
Firing line, yes,
I
exactly.
remember.
That is
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. So it's for me, I get it's whenever and by the way, my grand mother taught me to fall asleep every night to talk radio. So believe it or not, Dominic, every night I fall asleep to talk radio
Wow.
I
under
can
my pillow.
totally relate. I can totally relate. Every night I'm falling asleep to some random YouTube videos on my couch. Yeah.
Well,
Just let them
Dominic,
play.
Dominic, the thing that I love about radio is that it it makes you imagine. Like
Mm.
it,
Yeah,
instead of
true,
seeing, like what I love about it is you hear the voice and you're trying to imagine and you really get the essence of stories
true.
in ways that you don't get as much when you actually see the person. So anyway, I've always loved radio. Maybe
100%.
that in my next life I would come back and do radio. I don't have a radio voice, but I'll come back and do radio. You know how people say you
You
should either be
have.
on radio or TV? I'm not sure I
Yeah.
really belong on either. But Dominic, all of that being said, like I love the fact that you won an award, um,
Well, I
a
think you're
vendor
a
award.
finalist for an award, right? Did I see this
Oh, I'm
headline
sorry.
correctly?
So yes and no. So on the one hand, so it's not one award. This year was crazy, guys. This year
I
was
know.
really, really crazy. I think we are now at a stage. I think we have won 8 awards so far, and we are still in one finalist stage. So I think for us as a talent acquisition team, this was a pretty good year.
That's pretty good. 8
I would
awards. So I
say.
mean, yeah. So like, besides your
Not too bad.
accent, tell tell us about your life. Like, how did you get into the
Yeah.
space? Did your parents raise you to be in talent acquisition? Did you always
Yes,
want to be a?
absolutely. Yeah, that was exactly it, Jason. So when I was born, my parents told me, insurance is the thing. This was exactly what they told me. Yeah, and as you all know, every kid loves to be in insurance in the insurance industry. That's like the thing, right? So
It's a dream. It's a dream.
it's a dream. It's a dream, exactly. When I went home after school, I was like, insurance, wow. No, unfortunately not. Yeah, so I'm actually located right now, and you guys might now laugh because it sounds strange, but the city, or it's not really a city, it's like 11,000 people. It's not that much. The location where I'm currently at is called Kissing. It's
Kissing.
really called Kissing, right? So it's
Dominic, before you go any further, we
yeah.
try every week to not get the explicit rating
Right.
on this podcast. So I'm not sure where you're going with the kissing thing, but I think we've gotten
I
far
mean,
enough on that.
Jason, you invited a European. I don't have any problems with that. Yeah.
Yes. Sounds like our problem.
So no, this is kind of a city that is close to Munich, where I'm actually working, right? And I was also born and raised very close. So I haven't made it that far, obviously. And yeah, I actually I never wanted to be in HR. I never wanted to be in TA. I never wanted to be in the insurance industry, and here I am, right? So it was really, honestly, it was really a coincidence at the end of the day. A good one, I would say, because how did it actually develop? It was quite funny because I always wanted to be in communications. That was my dream. Yeah, I studied communication sciences. I did a lot of internships, and also next to my studies, I also did a lot of stuff in the PR area. I founded I think Bavaria's biggest university magazine, internships, as I mentioned, at BMW, at Audi, in the communication space. And then there was one moment where I was like sitting at home, and I remember that quite clearly, actually. I was like, okay, I have only done comms stuff and only for auto manufacturers, right? Maybe I should do something else, but where can I actually go? And then I remembered that one of my best friends was working at Allianz, so the insurance company. And I was like, why not? Yeah, and I just submitted an application, and they took me. I did another internship there, and then after that, I was like really hooked. Hooked in the sense of it was cooler than I actually expected it to be, right? Because everybody's like, okay, insurance, super boring people, super boring topics. And I can't speak for all the other insurers. I'm pretty sure they are boring. I mean, look at them, but it's not us. Yeah? We are the cool guys.
I love that.
So Dominic,
yeah.
Dominic,
Go ahead, Jason.
so just look at how beautiful this looks.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Kissing.
Yeah. Kissing, exactly. That's the old part. That's the old part of Kissing. We also have a new part. I'm actually in the new part. So what you are seeing now is the old part. But that's the, let's say, the big church that we have. Yeah, true.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's Christmas in Bavaria. So
guys,
it's very idyllic.
It is crazy outside. So when I look outside of my window, everything is blinking, etc. It looks honestly a bit American. Yeah.
Ah,
So, and I also have to admit, I went the full US way, right? So, when you look at our house, completely decorated, everything in red and green, yeah, so it looks perfect. I
oh,
love that.
I love that. I see, I
Yeah.
found my people. I knew you were my people when I met you. So I want to give you as much credit as you deserve here for the year you speak of. You've done some pretty incredible hard work. A lot of companies we talk to are trying to figure out how to do work at the global scale and complexity. Like you say, you didn't go very far. You are the global leader of talent acquisition at Allianz. And I want you to tell us about all the awards you've won. But one of our most innovative solution providers in the industry, Phenom, is about to crown you the talent acquisition team of the year. You're doing incredible work that's beyond pilots and proofs of concept. You've taken on some pretty high risk, and we'll define that for everybody, high risk AI use cases in talent acquisition. Not everybody is treading easily in this water. They're trying to figure out responsible guidelines. They're trying to put governance structures in place. They're trying to even prioritize what use cases get deployed first and then how to stack those for like accretive value that you can kind of manage and scale. This is not easy stuff. And you're not
Mhm.
just doing it, you're racking up awards for it already. So I really want us to tell a little bit of the story, what you've actually done and what it took for you to get to this is what we've deployed and what we're already
Yeah.
measuring. There's a lot of foundational stuff. And I know this because I got to meet you and help tell your story at Unleash World in Paris, which is how we came to be connected. So I know what a lift this has been for you this year. Would you share some of that story, how you got to this point so far?
Yeah, absolutely, Jess. Absolutely. So the what you asked what it took to get there, right? And I can tell you exactly what it took. It took a shitstorm. A shitstorm was necessary to
Thank
get
you
there.
for being honest.
Yeah. So, and I'm not even joking. This was one of my toughest years ever. So the story is pretty simple. There was one moment where Allianz, and just to maybe give some ballpark figures, so we have around 160,000 employees worldwide. We are hiring about 20,000 people each year. And we're quite heterogeneous, like not super centralized. We have many entities, I think more than 700 legal entities. They have their own HR stuff. Usually, when I'm calling from the headquarters, they're like, yeah, sure, and then just hang up.
Mm,
So this is kind of the way we are structured, right? And at one point, Allianz decided, you know what? We are throwing away 500 local HR systems and
mm,
we go to success factors, one thing for
mm,
everybody. End of the story, right? Period.
yeah.
So this means I personally obviously wasn't asked in the sense of, hey, Dominik, what is the best ATS out there? Yeah. So we
Mm.
just got it. It was sent from heaven, meaning the board of management to us on the ground, roll it out.
Mm,
So, and we did. And then the shitstorm was basically happening. So recruiters were protesting, oh, I hate that tool, it's not delivering what we need, etc., etc. Now, some of those complaints were valid, many were not valid. I mean, this is the classical kind of change management process, I believe. Yeah, and no matter which tool you're implementing, everybody is complaining in the beginning.
yeah.
I really have to say the US guys, our US colleagues, were not complaining so much. They were just going with the flow. I
I
can
Okay.
thought
tell
you
you
were
one
gonna.
thing.
I thought you were gonna say we were the biggest complainers.
No,
I'm-
not at all. Not at all. The enemies I have are in my own country. The
Mm,
Germans are horrible.
mm,
So really, it was no horrible is of course a big word. No, it was challenging. I really have to say. And we said like, okay, guys, we hear you. I'm also not a big fan of it. Yeah. Here is your option. The option is we go into the market, we look for another tool that delivers all the features that you guys want to have, and then we we get it going, right? So this was basically the starting point of it. The cool thing, and I really appreciate that, is that we, from a TA perspective, have been now in the last 2 years the function in HR that got most of the budget,
Wow.
most of the budget in order to really accelerate on the tech side of things. And I think this is not necessarily normal. So I've not seen that so much in the previous years that this is happening. Usually TA is like, yeah, okay, I mean, you are the guys that need to recruit, you do that, whatever, right? And then the focus is on learning, on talent management, on rewards, etc. But TA is often, at least in our space, the ugly child.
Yeah.
And this is really, really cool to see. So it gained really a momentum. Yeah, and what can I tell you? I mean, we're now live with, as you said, Jess, with that high risk application. At least according to European regulations, it's called high risk application because personal data is involved, AI is involved, and as soon as that is happening, the European regulators are screaming for joy. Yeah, so I can tell you, I have spent more time with the data privacy colleagues than with my wife, for
Yeah.
sure.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, Jess, can I ask a question to Dominik?
sure.
Yeah.
Because I've always wondered this, and I hope that I hope someone else wonders this, so it's not just me taking up airspace. But Dominik, how much of what the EU regulators are concerned about
Yeah,
would you say they should be concerned about, versus
yeah,
how much is it bureaucracy and oversight and things like
yeah,
that? And by the way, I just for full disclosure, I'm asking this as a dumb American.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I
we see,
appreciate that.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I just know the rules are there, and I know that it's an excuse. And oftentimes I look at my German counterparts and I say, you're just making an excuse. But how much of it is a true concern, would you say?
I think that's a very good question. Honestly, a very good question. I think there are two dimensions to it. The first dimension is you guys need to understand that the US and also the British, you guys have a fundamental different perspective on risk versus the core Europeans. And what is this fundamental difference? The fundamental difference is risk, by the way, and innovations. Not only risk, right? But let's call it innovations. The US perspective is, let's try things out, and if we see something is going wrong, we act. The European perspective is, we already see the risks, so let's regulate right from the beginning before something happens. So that's dimension number one. So you just need to understand it's a different way of thinking. It's kind of a different philosophical school, if you will, right? Not saying this is good or bad. Of course, now in my perspective, I would rather go the other way round. Yeah, of course. But it's just another way of tackling things. So that's one thing. The other thing, and this is exactly what we are currently trying to bring across to the authorities, is the following. I make a very simple example. How is it nowadays without AI in the recruitment process? We have roles where we get 500, 800, 900, 1,000 applications. So you're a recruiter, you're sitting in front of this load of applications. What are you doing? Are you really screening everything? Come on. Of course you're not. Of course you're not, right? And this is by law totally fine. There is no law saying you have to screen everything. It's fine if you only take the first two, right? That would technically and legally possible. Now, once you have AI in the process, once AI, for example, is supporting you in screening those applications, the law says you have to go through every application. So, and I think this shows pretty nicely how sometimes maybe a well-meant idea or regulation is going in the complete different direction and opposite direction that you actually want to have. So this is, I don't know if that answers the question, Jason, but this is a bit how I see it.
Well, Dominic, it does. And then Bob, who's added to my, so where I'm concerned about, I would say I'm probably a globalist by definition. And I do understand nuances, so I'm not tone deaf to them. But I don't believe that most of these regulations, are future proof. I don't think that they're going to survive. I don't think they can survive.
True.
Because I think that they're based on information and rules and regulations that are old school that aren't right. Excuse me, they're right, but they're not relevant anymore. So when Bob just put in the chat, he goes, aligns with why I push for being responsible by design. Do it right the first time. I agree with Bob. I think it should be done right. But the question is, what is right? And that's where I would love to see people push the envelope to the point of saying, guys, we're not making hiring decisions based on AI. We're using it as a data point, just like I used Google or Instagram or a dictionary back in the day.
Jason, let me jump in here, because that is super interesting. And again, I'm referring a bit to what I said earlier, because there are also, again, two things to it. I fully agree with you. First of all, I fully agree. Yeah? And let's make now the super simple AI case. You have an application and you see a score that made the AI, or that was done by the AI, and you and I, we would not consider that a decision made by a machine. We wouldn't. It's just like a support for me, right?
It's a data point, right?
It's a data point, exactly. But, and I'm not joking, I had lots of discussions with our group legal and group data privacy guys. And they told me, Dominik, yes, technically, there is no automated decision making. That's true, technically. But legally, it is considered automated decision making, even if there is no technical rejection or forwarding of an application going on. Only if there is an A, a B, or a C next to your application, that's legally automated decision making in Europe. Why? And I do get it, of course, to some extent, because they tell you, okay, if you see an A next to an application, you as a human, you're influenced by that, and then you take this person forward, right? So it is indirect, kind of automated, indirectly automated. So this is a bit how the legal guys see it, right? Now we are
Dominic, just really quickly, I just want to play with you for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jess is laughing at me. Like I see Giselle's name in front of me.
Yeah.
Like I would guess Giselle is a female.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she's a female, but I guess she's a female.
Yeah.
Is that illegal to use her name?
I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you. Yeah. And that is, you're touching a very interesting point, because and I think that is exactly the direction we're currently going. If you have a look at the current regulations regarding AI in Europe, you see that they sometimes do not even make sense, because what we currently have going on without AI is not better. Yeah. So and this is what we're currently trying to prove. So to be, again, very practical, we are doing an analysis together with our data science guys in the company to prove that the applicants that were, let's say, identified by the AI as a good fit, that this process of selecting those people is less biased, way less biased than any process where a recruiter and a hiring manager would look at the CV and just take a human decision without any support. And there are already there are many empirical studies out there that actually already prove that, but we want to prove it with our own data points, right? And this is what we're going to do, and then also present to the authorities. Because and this is another thing that I noticed. What's currently going on, both, by the way, on the candidate side, but also on the regulator side, is fear and mistrust. This is the common notion at the moment. Why am I saying that with regards to the candidates? Only 25% of all applicants, and we have around 1 million per year, roughly. Only 25% provide consent that we can process their CV via AI. Only 25%.
25%.
That's ridiculously low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not surprising that it's low.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what the thing is now, it's so funny, and you have now the same thing on the regulators end, right? They have no experience with it. So their first reaction, and I think that's just human maybe, is like, whoa, wait. Yeah. So, and I could imagine this will go away. It just takes time. And now, of course, we're a bit let's say the idiots in that game, because we are a first mover. So you have to go through all of those discussions. And this is painful on the one hand side, but also super interesting on the other hand side, right? So just as another practical example, just this week, we discussed with the legal team and the data privacy team, guys, I want to change the entire text of the data privacy statement and the consent statement, because we write it in a legal way. You fall asleep already after the first 3 words. Yeah. So I want to have that in an engaging way, and I want to show and highlight the benefits that candidates get when they allow us to process their data with AI. Because honestly, there are only benefits. This is the true story. And
that's the story that we need to learn to start telling. Yeah.
Exactly.
This is good for you
address,
because, and we will hold ourselves accountable to that in these ways.
Exactly. And now we are touching another critical point, which is also quite interesting, and I haven't really thought about it. We're now entering a dangerous zone, because and again, I had a lot of discussions with the colleagues. My approach would be to tackle the mistrust on the candidate side, is to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
Telling them, this is how this whole thing works. This is what we do. No, we're not rejecting you because of AI. Blah, 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 right? So describing how the AI works, describing how the algorithm works, describing how this thing is fed, etc., etc. So being transparent as possible, as transparent as possible. Now, once I discussed that internally, the colleagues were telling me, are you crazy? And why? Not because they think it's a bad idea. Because they said if the regulator reads that, they will ask 1 trillion questions and they will challenge you. And this can go into a very wrong direction. So please do not disclose it. The best is that you don't disclose anything. So we are now in this kind of very strange situation where we have to tackle it for the candidates, but are not allowed to say too much in front of the regulators, right?
This reminds me, coming from a former recruiter, this reminds me of the question of whether or not you can and should give interview feedback. You weren't selected for this position. Can you tell me why? And best practice always, and probably still, was no feedback, because giving feedback opens you up to a litigious scenario, because you have to prove that you arrived at this through fair, responsible, like you have to prove that that you arrived here responsibly. And if you don't prove that well, even if it's true, litigious scenario. And so you just didn't give any feedback. This reminds me of that. Is that the right answer? No. Does that avoid risk? Yes. Like, this is why your story is so powerful. Everything that we're talking about right now is why most organizations have trouble moving forward. They don't know how to herd all of these cats, and it all feels like risk. And until they learn to reframe what success looks like and how you're going to manage. Like, are we over-regulating ourselves? Yes, perhaps, but I can't build a house without understanding zoning and permits. And if the zoning
Absolutely.
changes and I need to update my permit, that's just how the house gets built. Is it right, wrong? It's sort of not for
100%.
me to agree. Oh, Jason.
Yes.
But just, yeah, I mean, yes, all that. But in a world that's moving in not even yearly cycles,
I know.
but days and weeks, every single company is going to go out of business if these are the intellectual
I
blah,
know.
blah, blah conversations that we're having.
Yes, Steve. I know.
I mean, we are over, like, where is the humanity in all of this, where we educate humans to make decisions? We educate humans and we don't put them in a prison where they can't leverage their brain. And we're saying, we're going to regulate you to the point where you can't have any input or feedback, and we don't trust them to make decisions. Like that's why this function has a bad name.
Yeah.
HR,
That is
not
true.
even TA, just all the people function, because we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all we're doing is tactical shit because we've overregulated ourselves and we're so worried about getting sued.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, now.
And by the way, I'm sorry,
multiply.
Dominic, last thing.
Yeah.
Last thing I wanted to say this. I am not being empathetic. Okay.
Because that is the operating environment.
I'm really frustrated when people say you're not being empathetic. You're focusing on, you're not focusing on bias. I'm focused on all that. But all I'm saying is that if we regulate this to the point, all we're doing is putting in minimum viable processes with minimum viable technology. And guess what we get? Minimum viable results. And guess what the function looks like? A minimum viable function, which no one takes seriously. And at the end of the day, it's going to be irrelevant.
I 100% agree with you, Jason. And let me add one thing, because that was also the challenge a bit. You said like we regulate ourselves into like nirvana, right? Now, multiply that attitude with the insurance business, because our job, our DNA is actually to reduce risk.
Yes.
That's our job, right?
Not
now
produce outcomes, reduce risk.
Exactly. And now imagine little Dominik running around the corridors saying, "I want to implement a high-risk tool."
Right.
So yeah, that was interesting.
But I mean, Dominic, how do we get the mindset right where we play to win instead of play not to lose?
Yeah. I think that's the key point, and I can tell you how it was for me. Maybe there were a couple of lucky circumstances. So on the one hand side, we had the clear need from the business, the clear need, right? So that was one thing. The other thing was, we already knew that the European Digital AI Act was coming. Yeah, it's going into effect next year in August, if I remember correctly. And we went to our group data privacy guy and told him, hey, let's work together on this very first high risk application being rolled out across the company. This can be your blueprint, because at the end of the day, we won't be the last ones. There will be many, many more coming. So at one point, you have to do it anyway. Do it with us in a joint way. And this really, really worked well. I'm saying that explicitly because what he did, and I really appreciated that, he basically gave us like 5 people working on that project with us for like nearly a year. 5 people. 5 FTE, 24/7 basically. Wow. Right? And this was crucial, obviously, to get there. And we also had the full backing from our board. So, and if you put all of those 3 components together, you can make it work. If it's just, and this is my experience from the past, if it's just TA knocking on some doors, this is tedious. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to work. But if you create that momentum, and we had that with the shitstorm I was referring to earlier, then it's a bit easier. So that was our luck.
You know what, Dominic, one of the things that's so fascinating to me is like back in 1998, You weren't born.
I,
But I built
I
a-
was, unfortunately.
I built a dashboard in PeopleSoft that
Uh-huh.
looked at candidates and it gave them a green, yellow, or red.
Uh-huh.
It didn't give them an A, B, or C, and it gave them
Yeah.
a green, yellow, red based on how they filled out, based on what their resume said that we OCR'd in if it worked,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
30% of the time. We never said anything about AI. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like, oh, that's so cool. It's got green, yellow, red. Now all of a sudden, like, it's like, whoa, AI, we can't do this. Like, and we've got a bunch of people worried about the EU AI Act, so they won't even say the letters AI, and that is not even what the EU AI Act says.
Yeah, yeah. And you're right. You're right, because I also remember a similar functionality in SAP's super old e-recruiting on-premise solution that was also based on OCR and basically just checking without AI. And it wasn't a problem back then. It wasn't a problem. So I fully agree with you. I mean, of course, we could now dig into those learning algorithms behind AI, which are a problem for many people because they have no clue how it works. By the way, this brings me to another point that just pops into my head. I think what also causes a huge issue, or let's say a lot of obstacles, is nowadays not only TA, but especially also the people in all of those functions that you actually need in order to get the project done. They require tech knowledge. They require an understanding of how technology works. They need to understand how algorithms work. And and this is not so easy, to be honest, right? Because they are sitting there maybe for years and years and years. They're used to their job, and then you're coming around the corner, yeah, with your bloody AI stuff, and then they're like, whoa, wait a second, how is this working? So it takes a lot of time to educate and upskill them, actually. And this is, and by the way, this also holds true for the recruiters on the ground. So
Yeah.
we rolled that ATS out, and honestly, we had like, I think we provided more than 60 hours of learning in different formats. I think we had more than 70 different formats of learning to all the recruiters out there. So we have around 1,600, and still we received a lot of questions from the people on the ground asking where they need to click. Yeah, I make it now very, very simple, but and this is another thing. Sometimes I don't even know where, if I should laugh or if I should cry, because my wish is that everybody is as tech savvy as possible, because this is the fundamental requirement going forward. I don't need a recruiter that is that loves to schedule interviews. Yeah, this is not the future. I want somebody that is tech savvy in the sense of understanding all the fields in that system, knowing how to report on that, understanding how the AI works, etc., and how to train the AI.
Mm-hmm. I think we only have a few minutes to wrap this. I hear Jason saying when are saner heads going to prevail, and we're over-regulating into irrelevance. But then I also can't get over the 25% of candidates providing consent. Here's my data. I trust you to use it well and properly. There's got to be a happy medium. We do need to extend what probably feels like overkill for protections for people until we can somehow catch them up to this trust gap that is very real. You don't get to ask for data you don't know how to manage well. I don't know how else to like resolve the conversation other than to try to move the regulation forward, more progressive, more flexible, help organizations be responsive to those changes as they occur, and also top down, bottom up, also build trust and safety where it doesn't yet exist, because we don't
Jess,
have, yeah,
I
savvy
totally agree
people
with
who understand all of this.
I totally agree with you. And I think one of the biggest things that we're going to have to look in the mirror in 2026 and ask ourselves is, with all the things on our plate, is this big enough? Is there that much abuse? Is it our biggest problem? Is it our biggest challenge? Because I can't do everything. This is where I'm watching HR struggle so mightily. Is that, oh, here's an issue. Oh, here's an issue. Or here, I can make up issues all day long. Like I said something on a webinar yesterday that's an HR issue. And instead of them being strategic, they're calling me saying, you might have said something that offended someone maybe in 1997. So I just think we really, really, really have to think about that and start to, and are we talking about resumes privacy? We could be, guys, I'm just being overly, I'm making a blanket statement. Is the fact that you do engagement surveys once a year, is that a bigger problem that I don't know whether my workforce is engaged than whether or not 0.1% of people might happen to be falsely classified in the talent acquisition process? And I'm not saying that's the number, but I'm just saying we need to have a serious look in the mirror and say, with everything that we have on our plates to try to stay relevant going forward, where do we bank?
Fully agree.
Yeah. Dominik, thank you so much for finding time on our calendar. I was
Hey,
waiting
Dominik,
for this to happen.
Dominik, just so you know, when Jess doesn't reply to something I say, that means that she doesn't effing agree with me.
No,
And she's like, okay, we're done. We're just going to say goodbye.
that's not true. That's not true. I watched the time clock switch over from where I am, 11 or 12:59 to 1 o'clock. And I'm trying to be respectful of everybody's time and Dominik's evening. Yeah, I think this was a thought-provoking session too. I knew that it would be because I know that you are a first mover, not just an early mover, like you are in first mover territory, my friend, and we appreciate you doing it so thoughtfully because a lot of people are trying to bite this stuff off. So thank you, and congrats on all of the accolades you're receiving. Well deserved.
Thank you so much, guys. Unfortunately, we didn't have actually the time to go through all the KPIs and stuff.
I know.
So you have to invite me for another time, and then I can
Dominik, you
basically.
can come back as long as you bring a beer. Bring up a beer.
A Bavarian Stein, we're in.
Yes, absolutely. We have the best, as you know.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Everyone,
It was
have
a
a great
pleasure.
weekend.
Absolutely.
You too, guys.
Thanks, everybody.